So welcome to Festival of the Girl. I'm Laura, one of the co-founders of the festival, and I'm delighted to have a camerawoman, director and producer with me, Sab, today. Hi, Sab.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. Now, at the beginning of the year, we asked loads of girls what they wanted to see as part of this year's festival lineup, and camerawoman came up loads. So I kind of feel we've hit the lottery getting you, Sab, because you've been doing this for 12 years. You've done loads of amazing work, but most recently, I suppose people might have seen you were shipwrecked on Bear Grylls, the island. And you also did Race Across the World, BBC Two, which I think got us all through lockdown. So we're really excited to have you here to chat to you. It's going to be a good one, I just know it. So we've asked the girls to send in loads of questions, and I've got loads. So we'll go through the questions, and then we can talk about top tips on how to get filming, because I know loads of the girls will get started, so you'll be able to give us some advice on how they can do that. So yeah, we'll get going with questions. There are loads. So one of the first ones was, how did you get into filming? How did it start?
So I didn't do anything at school or college to do with sort of actual filming. I did a bit of media studies just because I enjoyed it. And then it wasn't until I was 24, I think, 23, 24, and I met a guy in a train station who's doing a questionnaire for an old consumer series called Watchdog. And I just found it fascinating for what he was doing. And I just got talking to him, and I said, I reckon I could do what you do. How can I get a job? And bless him, he was amazing. He contacted some friends that he'd made at BBC who sort of helped with the recruitment drive. And the next thing I knew, I think maybe 6 weeks after meeting him, I started my first job as a runner in TV on a BBC Three series called Dog Borstal. And it was brilliant. It was like the best decision of my life.
Wow. So it just shows you just got to grab opportunities, you just got to talk to people and just go for it, haven't you?
Yeah, you have. I think, yeah, and I think just have a little bit of, just be a little bit brave. It's really sometimes easier said than done. But yeah, I'm really happy that I found a little bit of courage that day to just ask the question.
Amazing. And it's just changed your life, hasn't it, really? So
yeah,
brilliant. And one of the next questions that the girls asked is, how heavy is your camera?
So they all vary. So on things like Bear Grylls, the island, that camera was probably between 5 and 10 kilos. So let's say 7 kilos. So that is about 7 bags of sugar.
That's
yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
How do you do that on little food? I know you didn't have that much food as well, so
no,
you've got to be strong, haven't you? You've got to be healthy and fit.
Yeah, you have to look after yourself.
Yeah.
You have to do exercise. You have to eat pretty well. Don't get me wrong. I love a Snickers bar every now and then, but yeah, you have to look after yourself, and exercise is key because you need that strength and that stability to be able to support the camera and do the long days and the hours and all of that that's required.
It's a very heavy camera. I don't know if I could do it. What have I got here? The next one. So the islands. We had lots of questions about being shipwrecked on an island and filming at the same time. I suppose like generally we've had things about what was the best thing, what was the scariest thing. I suppose just generally about the experience. What were the highs and lows?
It was an incredible thing to be part of. I was really lucky. I had an amazing team of fellow producers, directors and camera operators with me. We made a really nice tight-knit group, and we had 3 girls and 3 guys on the island together, and we got on great. We were really lucky. We got rations, so we were probably on about 1,000 calories a day, which is obviously it's less than half of what you would probably normally eat in an average day. We went on with 2 pairs of underwear, 1 pair of trousers, 1 shirt, 1 waterproof coat. I think that's it. I think that's all we were allowed, clothing wise. It's crazy. And then for washing and showering, you're just washing in the sea. There was no showers, there was no luxury. We slept on the floor, we slept on the beach.
You do all
It
the
really
film work.
back. It was amazing,
Oh
but
wow.
it's really hard work. There were days where your mood is really low because you don't have enough food inside you. It might be raining. You might have to go and do a long trek through the jungle carrying your heavy camera. And there are days where you go, oh, what have I signed up to? And then there's other days where you're like, this is amazing. Like team morale and stuff is really good.
An experience you're not going to forget, is it?
I'm never going to forget it, and I feel really, really lucky and privileged to, be part of sort of amazing programming like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one, I think it's probably Race Across the World was, again, everyone was really had lots of questions about that. And one of them was, where was the most, I suppose, the most amazing country? What was the most amazing thing you filmed out there? Because of course you went all over, you went all over there, didn't you, during the show?
That's a really tough question. So we did from Mexico City all the way down to the most southern tip of South America in Ushuaia. And across that journey, we tracked through, I think it was 16 countries in 54 days. So there wasn't a lot of time to stop and look and kind of enjoy as such. If I were to go and do it again, I'd do it very differently because I was governed by what my two teammates wanted to do. I had the winning team, by the way.
Oh,
because they were in charge of really the ways that they wanted to go. You kind of have to just go with what they want to do. But standout countries for me, Belize is just beautiful. The color of the sea, the white sand is just absolutely stunning. Peru was amazing. The people there were really lovely and friendly. And that in Peru, there's this place called Rainbow Mountain, which has only been discovered in the last sort of 5 years or so, I think 5 or 10 years, because of global warming. The snow has melted off the peaks of Rainbow Mountain, and it's revealed these rainbows in the hills from all the minerals and stuff in the soil. So when you get a good day, we had snow, unfortunately, really random. You can just see the beautiful colours washing over the land. But it's at high altitude, which means that your oxygen is restricted because there's less oxygen the higher up you get. So climbing that was, amazing for the program. It looked amazing. It was amazing for Jamil and Iman, my two contributors, because it's an experience that they may never have had unless they were doing this trip. And personally, it was phenomenal because I've never been at altitude, and so doing that and filming at the same time was quite something. It was challenging.
Challenging, what an achievement.
Yeah.
You were definitely the winning team. Like, my God, to be able to do that. Oh wow. I think it's these things you probably don't think about with, our girls might not think about with the camera work, but kind of, there's lots of challenges like on location and, all this physicalness to it as well, which I think is really interesting to kind of hear from you, that sort of side of things. That might not be something that naturally comes, to mind when you think of a camera woman or, or a director. So the fact that you, climbed a mountain with a camera, I salute you. That's incredible. And the next one is, how long did both of the series take to film? So how long were you away from home? So you must be away quite a lot.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of pre-planning before the production sort of hits location. So that takes a couple of months beforehand. But for me, when I fly out, I might fly to places like that maybe a couple of days before filming starts, have a couple of settling in days. And then the filming period for the island we were on the island for 34 days. So yeah, left like that for 34 days. And then Race Across the World was 54 days. So yeah, you're away sometimes as little as a couple of weeks, sometimes as much as 3 months. So it really differs.
Yeah. I like this one. Next one. Do cameras break, Sab? Do they break?
If I'm using them, then yes. I'm not going to lie, I've had a few mishaps. They are expensive. I try not to break them. I've broken little parts sometimes, but sometimes if you are in lots of heavy rain, I remember filming the jungle once and the rain just kept on coming, and there's only so much of kind of waterproofing you can do. and things just things go down. I've fallen over and broken bits off. I've been walking through what I thought was shallow sea and I've tripped, and then I'm like this with a camera above my head trying to save the camera and stand up. Yeah, things happen. Things happen. I don't plan to break things.
No, but they do happen, yeah.
You do, yeah.
Well, go ahead. Now, I think because obviously you're a director as well, which is really interesting. And I think one of the questions the girls asked is like, how do you direct a great scene? You know, is there a kind of key thing that you look to do when you're thinking about how to make a scene great?
Yeah, it's difficult to answer in a way, because a lot of the things that I do is quite documentary style, so kind of the less input sometimes the better, but sometimes when you know something about the characters or you know what has naturally happened, you want to ease that out a little bit more. So it's about being aware of your surroundings, what's going on. You might be filming one thing right in front of you, but you might look from the corner of your eye and something more interesting is going on over there. So you have to be quite self-aware. And I think also it's about being switched on and understanding what you're filming and why you're filming it and who you're filming, and picking out those key points. And if, I don't know, somebody might have mentioned something a couple of days previously that you think, oh, that doesn't really mean anything, and 2 days later your memory goes back and you're like, oh, okay. And then you might start asking questions or throwing in discussion points that might build that storyline a little bit more. That's kind of like what we call editorial side, so producing and directing those storylines. And then directing other ways is if you've got more than one camera, it's about working out who should be in which positions, what shot sizes should people be on, and just to make sure that you've got the coverage that you need in order to make that scene work. Lots of layers.
Yeah, lots of layers, and really creative as well, isn't it? Kind of, you're really, like you said, you're really trying to think about so many different things, but to get that we just see, and to know there's so much thought behind it, it's interesting.
And but then also, I don't go into the edit, but then so we can only get what we get, and then it's put into the edit, and then that's a whole other craft. You have amazing editors and edit producers that then will take your footage and they might interpret that scene differently to how you felt in it in the time, or you might have felt in it at the time it wasn't very good, or it was really great, and it might be interpreted slightly differently there. So it's a really creative process that doesn't end until it hits your screens.
And do you see it for the first time when it's on the screen, or do you get to see it before? Or
sometimes I'll get a sneaky preview, like I might get to see the first episode before it goes out, but quite a lot I just see it when everyone else does.
That's amazing. So you'd be like, wanting to see, like you said, seeing how somebody interprets what you've done must be really interesting. You're watching it just like us to see see what happens. The next question came up a lot. It's a very important one. Obviously, because you've been out on location so much in so many different amazing circumstances of travelling. What's the weirdest place you've gone to the toilet, Sab? That's what one of the questions the girls want to know, so I'm asking it.
We'll have a little bit of toilet talk. So on the island, you obviously don't have any facilities. So I'm not going to lie, you scrape a little hole in the jungle somewhere, you do your business, and you cover it up. And off you pop. The boys, though, most of the boys were pooing in the sea.
Oh, well.
So,
whatever. What works, I suppose, when you're on and I know that we're in between. You're actually about to go on to another location. So what are you doing next? That's what one of the girls wanted to ask is, what are you doing at the moment and what are you doing next?
So I've just finished a brand new series for Channel 4, which I can't tell you too much about, but it comes out, it comes out on the 4th of October. So you might catch it just before this show. So it's a new series on Channel 4. And then after this, I'm just going straight on to SAS Who Dares Wins. Wow. So it's a series that I'm really excited about. Challenging. It'll be good.
Keeps going. So I now want to be a camera woman. I feel like I want to do all the things that you've done. It sounds incredible. And I know the girls but want to get some top tips on just how to start, because I think that's the thing, isn't it? You just got to kind of start playing around with filming to kind of start developing a craft as such. So
Yeah.
should we go through some top tips? I suppose you're going to have some. We've talked about this before. So the first one is the equipment you need. So some girls might be worried you need special fancy things, but you're going to tell us differently.
Yeah, I mean, I use really fancy, expensive cameras, but that's because, you know, it's going on TV and it's broadcast, and I have the luxury of the companies hiring in for me to use. But if you want to get started, just get hold of a smartphone. I don't know if, you know, your parents might have a digital SLR camera. A lot of those have video functions on, GoPros, things like that. If you can get your hands on it, just give it a go. Normal mobile phone. Social media wants us to film everything this way.
Yeah,
That's not the way
right,
to do
is
it.
it?
So that leads straight into top tip number 2. I skipped ahead of you, sorry.
Yeah. Which
So
way
top tip
should you
2, yeah, social media obviously likes us to film this way because Instagram stories, I don't use Snapchat, but I think Snapchat and all that is this way. Try and film everything landscape. It gives you, you know, a better view. It's the right ratio for what you would then put onto your computer screen as well. So yeah, go landscape.
go landscape? And one question, one tip, I suppose it's the steady hand, isn't it? Because if you're filming a scene, so if our girls have created a scene but they start to feel like, oh, I'm going to shake, you know, what's your top tip for keeping a steady hand when you're using, say, like a phone or a camera at home?
Yeah, so if you know that you're naturally going to be a little bit shaky, just do it in bite-sized bits. Give yourself a loosen off. If you've got somewhere that you can, you know, even just prop your elbows, prop your elbows on something, so that helps steady you. You can use, if you know that, say for example, you're going to be in one place and you're talking to the camera, just use a pile of books and step the books so that you've got something to lean back on. Just play around with what you've got around the home. I mean, things like bean bags, if you've got those from, you know, any of your, you know, toys and stuff like that, they can help balance things out. So yeah, just play around with what you've got at home.
Yeah, I like the elbows. That's a good tip. I like that. Yeah, using your body, I suppose, isn't it, to kind of help you steady.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's being quite fluid. So I mean, I use my body a lot in order to get into weird positions and all sorts while you're doing. So just experiment.
Yeah. And the next one's light, because that comes up quite a lot, doesn't it? Making sure you've got the right light. So what should our girls do for that?
I'm a big fan of just natural lighting. So for example, at the moment, I'm facing the window. So I've got all of the natural light filling me as I'm the subject. Obviously, you can see that I've got a light on behind me. That just gives a little bit of backlight to what's sort of going on there. But if you think about what you're filming, if it's a subject, if it's a person, you want most of the light to light them up. And then you might want some light to pick up the detail. But it's the same when you take a photo. You generally try not to take a photo into the light because it just becomes shadow and silhouette-y. It's the same with filming, really.
Yeah. So always at front is the best.
Yeah, but play around with it, because if you want to create a more moody atmosphere, you might want that shadow and that light that to cast over you. So just play around with it, but generally, you know, you use what you've got. Use bedside lamps, use windows, you know, see what you can get your hands on. Torches, mirror lights, all sorts.
Yeah, great idea. Yeah, really spooky. I suppose we're coming into that autumnal kind of feeling, aren't we? So and then I suppose the last tip is, once you've done, you know, you've got your film, you might want to edit it. And I suppose, you know, if you've just kind of filmed on your phone, what can you do to kind of have a little bit of an edit to your
so I'm not lie, I don't edit very much at all. But lots of people tell me that iMovies on, you know, with Apple is just amazing. I think just keep it simple, and build yourself up. I don't think you need to be necessarily getting anything too fancy. Just keep it simple, I think, and see what you can work with.
That's amazing.
Be creative.
Yes, absolutely. And I think lots of people said about iMovie, and it kind of just gives you that, starts kind of getting you into it, doesn't it? But what you shoot is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been so, I feel like we could probably, the girls probably want to ask you even more questions about all your travels and what you're about to go up to. It's so interesting. What I'd love to say to the girls, if you feel inspired by Sab, why don't you make a film? Like, kindly ask your grown up if you can borrow a phone, or like Sab said, a camera, and get filming. Film your International Day of the Girl and share it with us. We'd absolutely love to see your work. We can show it to Sab as well. But thanks so much, Sab, and good luck with your next work.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. And if I can inspire just one of you, I'd be very, very happy. So get out there, don't be shy, just get started.
Be a little bit brave. I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Sam.
All right, take care. Bye.